Alright, welcome to section 1.3. This section should be very much review from really even your beginning algebra classes forward, but it's very important for calculus. It's centered on making sure that we can find the equation of the line. So things that we choose, or you'll see that I've chosen some sections, put some sections together that are from different chapters. It's really to just make sure that you're well prepared for your calculus class. And so as you go to the first part of your calculus class, they're going to talk to you about a derivative, which gives you the slope of the tangent line, which necessarily means that you're going to have to find the equation of that tangent line. And so we want you to be well prepared with finding equations of lines, and we feel that you are, and it should go relatively quickly, so you know what they're going to do. The first questions are going to say, hey, find the line. Make that look a little bit better. That has slope, and they'll give you a slope equaling -2 and goes through the point, or passes through the point, whatever they choose to use. And they'll give you a point to go through, 3, -1. And what we're hoping is that you already have a technique that you're going to go and use. The most common technique that I've seen is for individuals to go through the y minus y1 is equal to slope times x minus x. Let me make that look a little bit better. Sorry about that. X minus x1. Others will go straight to the slope-intercept form. They do ask for the slope-intercept form in the end. So in this case, I'd have y minus 3 is equal to -2 times x minus the -1. And you can go straight to the x plus 1 if you want. I'll just make that my next step. I just want to make sure I didn't lose anybody. But just plugging in the given points. But you can see what I've done. I've done the most common mistake possible. And so I just wanted to model that. The 3 is not the y. The 3 is the x. And so that's the only mistake that I really see with people doing this that know the foundation, is that they're just not careful. You need to be careful now. Carefulness is really an important aspect of calculus, and so we want to view everything with a good level of detail. So it's y minus the given y value, which is -1, is equal to the slope, which we had right as -2, x minus the given x value. That is the right way to do it. And so what do we have? We have y plus 1. And then here I'll distribute -2x plus 6. And then get y is equal to -2x, and we're going to subtract over that 1, and we're going to get plus 5. And we're done. They want it in what they call slope-intercept form, and I know you know that as solving for y, right? That's what slope-intercept form is. Second question, find the equation of the line. That passes through. The points, and they'll give you 2 points. So I saw a problem that gave the points -3, -6, and -1, -7. And so hopefully you know what to do here. We first did this problem in beginning algebra, reinforced it in intermediate algebra. And so what do? Well, we first find the slope. The slope is the change in y over the change in x. Right? Being careful. Why give you all those negatives? So that they make sure that your real number arithmetic is good, right? That you're going to be okay. So -7 minus -6 is -1, right? That's -7 plus 6. -1 plus 3 is 2. And so we get the slope of -1/2 that easily. Now you can choose either point and in order to solve the equation. So for lack of a better reason, I'm going to choose the very first one. So I'll do y minus, being careful to select the y value, is equal to the slope that I found, x minus the given x value. And we're going to have to deal with the fraction, but that's okay. We know fractions and we love them. Okay, we could take a moment just to make sure that we got that slope okay, because there's not going to be a part question that says, what's the slope? It's going to be, hey, what's the equation of the line? You're going to type in your end answer. And so if I look at that slope one more time, negative 7 plus 6 is negative 1. Negative 1 plus 3 is 2. So yeah, we're good to go. So this is y plus 6 is equal to negative 1/2 x plus 3. So that's y plus 6 is equal to negative 1/2 x minus 3/2 would be my suggestion. Keep everything in improper fraction form. And then we're going to subtract 6, right? And what do you get when you take a negative 3/2 and subtract 6? So that's what we're wondering. What's negative 3/2 minus 6? Well, you could do that as negative 3/2 being put together with negative 12/2 or negative 15/2. Right? Most likely they'll want it as an improper fraction. That seems to be the good way. No, notice what negative 15/2 is. It's negative 7/2, but that's what we had. We had a negative 6 and a negative 1/2 for negative 7/2. So we're doing really well. Right? And so what are you typing in as your answer? You're going to do all this work on the side, and then you're going to type in that answer right there, and it will tell you whether you got it right or wrong. So accuracy is the key. Here's the third problem that I thought I should do. I've seen some people shut down. Find the equation of the line. With x-intercept of 2. I put with an x-intercept of 2 and a y-intercept of negative 2. Okay, and so why would we shut down? What do we have? We have the exact same thing as we do in number 2. We have 2 given points. So the x-intercept is 2. So what's the coordinates of the given point? 2, 0. The y-intercept of negative 2. Oh, that's when x was 0, y was negative 2. You have the same 2 points. So you can get your slope. Slope is change in y over change in x. So negative 2 minus 0, 0 minus 2, making sure to start and end with the same point. That's negative 2 over negative 2 for 1. Your slope's just 1. That's awesome. Okay. If you doubted yourself, you could look at what that would look like. An x-intercept of 2, y-intercept of negative 2. Oh yeah, that would be positive slope. So a positive 1 makes sense, right? So there's some tie-ins to old ideas that you can just rely upon to make sure that you're okay. Well, if you recognize that you have your y-intercept, you're done. Because if you think about where we need to end, y is equal to mx plus b, and you really understand this, then you know your slope is 1, and you know your b is negative 2. Right? Because your b is your y-coordinate of your y-intercept. B is the y-intercept, so b is negative 2. You could go through the whole y minus, I don't know what you would have done, y minus 0 is equal to 1 times x minus 2. But you're going to get the same thing right away. So it doesn't matter how you go about and do it. This would not have been a bad way to do the y minus y1 is equal to x. But you can get there a lot faster if you realize the information that you have in that problem. Okay, so just giving you examples of the different things that you'll see. You're going to see something like this. Find the equation of the line that passes through negative 5, 3, whose slope is undefined. Right, that was a question in there. Find the equation of the line that passes through negative 5, 3, whose slope is undefined. Okay, well, what's it mean to have undefined slope? Well, it means that you have no slope, so it's impossible to do a y equals equation. So they're hoping that you learned a lot through your intermediate algebra class. Anytime your slope is undefined, and I'll highlight that in yellow, you know the equation of the line. The equation of the line is an x equals line. It can't be y equals. If you have y equals, there's a slope. But if their slope's undefined, it's got to be x equals, and it's not a mysterious process to know what x equals. It's got to equal the x coordinate of any point it goes through. There, you're done. X equals -5 is what you're typing into the system. What about something like this? Find the equation of the line. That is parallel to x minus 2y. Sorry, let me make that look better. X minus 2y is equal to -1 and passes through um, 4, 3. Okay, so let's do that. So if we want it to be parallel to x minus 2y equals -1, again, I could find this problem in beginning algebra and also in intermediate algebra. We're going to use the equation of the line, which right here, to determine the slope. That's all we want from this, is the slope of that line. Let me write that in black. We're using this only for the slope of our line. And so what's the slope of our line? Well, we know that x, well, if I solve for, I don't know how you want to solve for y. Personally, this is what I would do. I would move the 1 over to the right, the 2y, or sorry, 1 over to the left, the 2y over to the right, and then divide everything by 2. I would get my y over there just so I'd have less negatives involved. But it doesn't matter. The slope of this line is right there. Now that y is solved for, it's 1/2. So if I want it to be parallel, I want it to have that same slope. If the word was perpendicular, I would take the opposite sign and I would flip it. And so what is the equation of my line? So now I know that the slope is 1/2 and it's 4, 3. And I'm back to question number 1. Given a slope and a point, find the equation of the line. So no different than what I did there. So we'll do y minus 3 is equal to 1/2 x minus 4. And we're almost done. Y minus 3 is equal to 1/2 x minus 2. If I add 3 over, I get y is equal to 1/2 x plus 1. And I'm finished. It can be that nice if we let it. If this word was changed to perpendicular, so I'll leave that here. And so what I'm going to do is back up. So I'm going to erase this work that I did, knowing that you can back up the video if you wanted to see that work. That way I can maximize your time here. Or minimize the amount there. If this word right here was changed to, and I'll put it in red, perpendicular, let's see what would change. What would change in all of this? So I'll put the changes in red. You would still first get the slope, and so there would be no change in what you do here. I would add over the 1, add over the 2y, divide by 2, and get 1/2 x plus 1/2. That all stayed the same. What changes is right here. My slope is no longer 1/2. It is for this line, but I want it to be perpendicular. So my slope now is that opposite sign and the reciprocal. So the slope of the given line is still 1/2. And I use that same 1/2 when I want it to be perpendicular. But when I wanted it to be I'm sorry, when I want it to be parallel. When I want it to be perpendicular, I don't use the same slope. I take the opposite sign, so it was positive, I make it negative, and I flip the 1/2 to be a 2. But I'm still going through the same point, 4, 3. No problem now. So y minus 3 is equal to, just to keep into perspective what the change was. So we don't have to change much when they switch that word to perpendicular. We just have to be aware. But it changes a lot, right? And so now I'm going to get y is equal to negative 2x plus 11. And that's what gets put in there if that word is simply changed to perpendicular. Okay. So I've seen people shut down at something like this. This will be our last example. Find the equation of the line perpendicular to x equals 4 and passing through -7, -1. Okay, so let's talk about what we do. Same thing. We need to get the slope of this line. Well, the slope here is undefined. Okay, so if they said a line parallel, I would have another undefined line, and I would be looking at x equals -7. Well, the opposite of undefined is, so we're going to remember what we do for perpendicular slope. So I'll put it in red here. So the perpendicular slope that we need is the flip of undefined. Well, if something's undefined, it's over 0. So the flip of, so this is an example of something that's undefined, 2 over 0, 20 over 0, -20 over 0. Doesn't matter what that top number is. If you flip it, you get 0 over some non-zero number, right? And if that's the case, 0 over non-zero, that's always 0. So the flip of an undefined number is 0, and 0 doesn't have a sign, so you can't change its sign, right? It's positive and negative neutral. So you have basically you're looking for a line whose slope is 0 that passes through -7, -1. Well, if you don't know how to do that, just go to your y minus y1 is equal to slope times x minus x1. And you'll get y plus 1 is equal to 0 times x minus 7, minus a -7. Well, you know 0 minus anything is 0. And so you'll get y plus 1 is equal to 0, or y is equal to -1. That's the equation. Now you should probably know already that a line that has slope of 0 is just a y equals equation and would equal the y coordinate of a point that it needs to go through. So a lot of this is just updating those types of things. So, or not updating, but just giving you re-exposure to those. So have fun with it and let me know what questions arise.